All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the January 2023 cosmic weather. Oh, I am so glad you're here. Hello, welcome. Welcome if you're new here. I hope you enjoy the entertainment this evening. And I am on my fourth video of the day. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of reading for me today. The first thing that I want to direct you to, because there is so much happening in 2023, the current magic episode that I just recorded, go listen to that. I talk about pretty much everything you could possibly want to know that's happening in my world right now. I give you details on Astral Playground. I talk about the masterclass, the free masterclass that I have coming up in January. I talk about all this stuff, all of it. And if you're interested in working with me in any capacity, I strongly recommend that you go check that out and get all the details on everything. I've even restructured my business and how I do things and how I run things, and so I map all of that out for you. I make it real easy to understand what's going on. So that is what I have to say about that. I will link it in the description box, the show notes. If you're listening to the podcast, go listen to the most recent Current Magic episode. Current Magic 2023 is what it's called. And it should answer the vast majority of your questions. And I also want to add, I am still doing curiosity calls for free. So if you have any questions that you would like to discuss with me directly about working together, then you are more than welcome to book a call with me. They're 20 minutes long. They've been awesome. I love doing them right now, so I'm going to be doing them until I don't want to anymore. So that is what I have for you on the housekeeping front. Any other housekeeping I want to mention? Go check out the 2023 overview cosmic weather. I just did that. I did a new episode of Sunday Messages as always. Yeah, lots of content. There is no shortage of content around these parts. You feel me? Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. And I have the starting place for where January wants me to begin with all of you. And that is unconditionality. One of my favorite frickin' topics, because in large part, unconditionality can be best summarized by looking at imagination or daydreaming. And we all know that is one of my favorite things to do. Because when you are in your imagination, you are feeling. When you imagine something that could happen that's terrifying, and you're feeling anxiety that could happen, that is unconditional. That is unconditional fear that you're feeling. Right? Conditional fear is when there's an actual bear in front of you, when there's a live tiger sitting in front of you. That's conditional fear. Unconditional fear is when you're making it up. Anxiety is an unconditional state. I'm anticipating something terrible, and that's why I'm experiencing anxiety. So January really, really, really wants us to get unconditional. Unconditional in how you're feeling. Because that's how you create. Duh. We talk about that all the time around here. I'm sure you guys, I've said it so many times, I'm like blue in the face. But the point is, January is kicking off with go there first. Go to the feeling state first. Go to the unconditional experience first. The unconditional emotional experience first. You go there and 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 go there. You're going to be met. There's no other possibility. So unconditionality is the theme for January. And it also is a big reminder that you do not need to this is where we kind of get caught up in a mess around action. Is I've said many times, and my belief system is that I could sit on my hands and do nothing and hold the unconditional state so completely that the universe would have no choice but to yield to me. Because that's how sharp my focus is. That's how clear I am in what I want and what I'm asking for and all of that stuff. The other piece that is coming through for January is a lot of the time, what I notice is that people will get an idea that sounds good or something that they want to do or a dream that they have, a new desire that is born. And once they have the desire, they want to take action on it. They want to say, okay, I got the idea. I have to do it right now. And we're talking about like a big desire, a big vision. And what January wants to emphasize here is that why not enjoy the dream? Why not? It's okay. Imagine you were cooking a delicious meal. Okay. Something is on the stove. Something delicious is on the stove and it's simmering. And the whole house is filling with this wonderful aroma. Don't you want to enjoy that part? Like it's not finished. The potatoes and carrots are rock hard. You don't want to eat that, I promise you. But doesn't it smell wonderful? Don't you just want to hang out in the kitchen because of how good it smells? That's like the allowing it to percolate, allowing it to simmer, allowing yourself to extract more pleasure from the desire, from the dream itself. Not needing to hurry up and get it done, because that a lot of the time, as soon as you start doing that, the magic dies. The magic dies because the point was not you need to hurry up and get this done and make it happen. The point was, doesn't it feel good to think about that, to dream about it, to picture yourself there, to imagine how it's going to come together, to tell yourself a wonderful story about it? Don't you like that part? And so once you start putting yourself in a pressure cooker in order to achieve something, it just dulls the sparkle. And so this month is really putting a strong emphasis on allow yourself to savor and enjoy the dream, the unconditional fantasy, and to feel the pleasure of the unconditional fantasy or the big project or the big thing that you are aspiring to. Allow yourself to just enjoy it. And know that that is a part of the process. As a matter of fact, if you just fell in love with the fantasy day after day after day after day, it has to materialize. It has to. That's how this whole energetic world is operating. So there's immense value in it. And on top of that, you're not going to slow it down by getting clogged up in action prematurely. And so it seems like there's a lot of you, especially this happens around the new year. We start thinking about what we want. We start setting goals. We start, anticipating what is to come. And instead of letting the energy organically develop to the point where action is inevitable, it's an inevitable extension of what you have circulating within you and how mature the vision has become. It's something that you do prematurely and then it weighs everything down. We are not doing that anymore. Okay, we are nipping that in this month. So trust that just enjoying this. I'll give you an example. One of the things that recently came up for me was I had this feeling that I will eventually want to flip houses. I want to pick out the tile. I want to look at the blueprints. I want to map everything out. I want to design the most incredible kitchen. I want to design the type of windows that I want to have in the house. Like there's all of these things that I think I would be great at flipping houses because my inner vision is so dominant, okay? Now, this is just fun to contemplate and fun to think about. I am not rushing out to go find some contractors and some beat up houses that I'm going to gut. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm not focusing on any of that because the desire is not mature enough. The idea has not matured to the point where action is something that I actually want to do right now. I just like the idea of it. So I'm letting the idea be enough. I'm letting the fantasy be enough. I'm letting, just imagining myself in the experience where I am so overflowing with cash. I have so much money to the point where I can just do this as a fun project. I can just make beautiful things because it's a fun project. And I'm going to love every part of the process as these houses come together and as they unfold. And I'm feeling my future self, like picking out tile or picking out light fixtures and just saying like, oh my God, I remember when I dreamed this moment. And I'm just savoring the part of the process where I'm just choosing things. I'm just choosing the most beautiful option and the most beautiful things. And I'm bringing this vision to life and all of it feels amazing. And then guess what? The house is going to be finished. And then I'm going to start all over again. So what's the goal? The goal is not exactly to finish the house because picking the tile is so much fun, because shopping is so much fun. Because designing it and putting together a beautiful color palette and making things that are really unique is where the magic lives. And so get used to this, particularly in 2023. Why not start off the year by saying, I am going to enjoy every stage of this unfolding and every stage of this process rather than trying to get it over with. We forget every time we manifest something big, it's like, there's more. I hate to break it to you. There's more after that. And this is something that happened to me with this house. If you don't know, I spent a long time manifesting this house. Like I was imagining it and fantasizing about it and sculpting it and just being in the energy of it. Poof, house manifests. Now I've been here for almost a year and there's a new desire that has emerged and I'm letting this house go because there's a different vision that I'm now moving toward. So the point is, there's always more. And if you allow it, you can make the most out of every single stage. And that's what January is really, really wanting to drive home for you. Let me see what else on that note. I think that's it for that. Let me see what else is going on. If you move forward with the unconditionality practice, let me speak about this more explicitly. So this is something that if you're in astral playground, if you don't know, it's like guided daydreaming sessions. I just started them in December and they've been awesome. Why are they awesome? Because it's unconditional practice. They're unconditional. So you don't need to be in a candy store to feel like you're in a candy store. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't need to have a surprise to feel like there's a surprise. So all of this is an unconditional practice. And this is why people feel amazing during those sessions, because it's unconditional. Because there's nothing that's happening out there. You're not rooting around for a 3D thing to make you feel better. You're just conjuring it on demand. Is that not magic? The fact that you have the inner faculties and the abilities to do that, and it is your creative power. Your imagination is your creative power. If you embrace this in January, you will have a fantastic month. Mark my words. I got the expression better than expected. Because the thing is, expectation is where the universe meets you. Or let me say it better. The 3D realm meets you at your expectation. Shifting your expectation is the path to getting more. Okay? Now, if we're taking this even further, if you have calibrated yourself to a degree of positive expectation and positive emotional affect to the point where now things can conspire in your favor, to the point where things can go, yes, better than expected. Because if your expectations are high and then on top of that, you're just in a good mood and you're holding the vibe and you're holding the energy unconditionally, well, now you're unstoppable. That is the place in which the 4-minute mile can occur. The impossible can occur in that state. So this is where there is going to be a strong temptation, as it happens every time the new year comes around. There's going to be a strong temptation to act prematurely. I promise you, if you are doing the energetic work, and I want to make this distinction really clear. If you are stressed and frazzled and overwhelmed and your emotional state is erratic and all over the place, it's going to be harder to discern this, because the information that you're receiving, the actions that you're receiving are going to be from a calibration set point that you don't want to hold. We don't want to be taking action from frustration. Okay? So if your emotional state is solid, if it's where you want it to be, and you are feeling into those action pieces from the correct emotional state, great. That's awesome. You will be tempted to take action, and action is a part of it, but the timing of your action is going to be dependent on the degree of your alignment. Right? So like what is the mix that you have going on in terms of what you're emitting is going to determine the action that you're receiving, the inspiration that you're receiving, and then the results are going to mimic, they're going to reflect back that emotional composition. So during the new year, there is a general attitude among muggles to take action and start meal planning and doing all of this stuff. And that is tempting. However, if you are in misalignment when you're doing that, it's going to lead to burnout, and later it's going to feel like you're defeated and all of this other stuff. And so the mirage of premature action is going to be really potent in January, as it always is. Make positive changes, but the emotional bedrock has to be really solid. The emotional framework has to be super clean in order for them to stand the test of time. the reason why incremental changes have an easier time holding over an extended period is because it's enough change to see improvement. Like the 1 degree shift is enough to maintain improvement, but it's not so radical and so extreme that it sends you into shock and you end up pendulum swinging back in the other direction, because you haven't fully calibrated to that new self, that upgraded mind body. So the new year represents a time when muggles get crazy with their pendulum swinging. Like, I'm going to go all out, new year, new me. Well, you is always evolving. Okay? There's no getting around that. Your capacity to embody the expanded aspect is something that it varies person to person. The amount of that you can actually handle varies. So, I personally, just so you know, I'm about to move, so I'm not really focused on goals. I have my vibe for 2023. The word for 2023 is mojo. I've talked about this already. Awesome, rad, amazing. But I'm not really going anywhere beyond that, because I understand that when I get into my new home, there are going to be things that are in my immediate experience that call my attention, and new desires are going to come from that. Things that I want to focus on are going to continually change. And this is what people often forget about this time of year, is you're not going to stop evolving. There's no getting around it. We have to let go of the pressure that we put on those points in time and space. And so this is where the unconditionality makes everything available now. Now. And you getting into this is something that I talk about in the 2023 overview. I talk about values in that. I talk about understanding values, priorities, and really keeping pace with your evolution, which is impossible. You will always be behind, because 3D is always lagging. It's always behind. So I honestly, I would consider for many of you at this time, take an unconditional, non-action based approach to the new year. Try it out. It's not for everyone, but you might find that when you're okay, let me say this. If you find that you are goal setting, doing some new year stuff, whatever, and in that process you're getting tired, see what happens when you shift it from this is all the stuff I'm gonna do to these are all the things that I want to feel, and this is the vibe I want to hold, and this is what I want to cultivate unconditionally. Try it out. Try it out, because you will be able to maintain those easier. Maintaining action without the energy piece is so freaking hard. It is like, oh my God, I don't even have the right language to describe the weight of it, like how heavy it feels to do that. So instead, I recommend try it out if you're feeling tired. Now, if you dig the whole action thing and it works for you in terms of you just set the intention and boom, you totally crush your year, fine. But the statistics aren't all that promising. Have you looked at New Year's statistics? Most people drop their resolutions by February. Riddle me that. And it's because you've got it backwards. You're saying, no, I'm not going to do any of this energy stuff. I'm not going to focus on the identity pieces at all. I'm not going to focus on the story I'm telling or the thoughts I'm thinking or the feelings that I'm feeling. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to bulldoze my way into some action that is incongruent with my energetic composition. And then I'm going to scratch my head later and wonder why it didn't hold for more than a few weeks. Okay, so if you want a stable foundation for transformation this year, and particularly for this month, you've got to get the unconditional framework down, and then you can layer on top of that all the fun action stuff that feels good. And that way, it'll hold. It'll hold. And the thing is, at least for me and other people that I know are into manifestational work in different degrees, it's constantly something that is calling your attention. When you start living life from a creation standpoint, like I am creating my reality, then you fully understand there's constant refinement that happens all year long. This is why I don't set goals anymore. One, because I either exceed them or I fall really short or I change my mind. It's not even worth my time to set goals anymore that are conditional. So my approach is go way, way, way unconditional. Just set the vibe for 2023. At least that's how I do it. And then I allow the specifics that feel good to come about only when they're mature enough to the point where I'm ready for that level of detail. I'm ready for that level of specificity. But it will find me. It's not something that you can fabricate. You can't force it. It has to just mature energetically to the point where those specifics become available for you to receive mentally. Okay? So that is my recommendation when you're looking at goals, at the very least, even if there are specific things that you're saying by the end of the year, I'm going to do this. I strongly, strongly urge you to watch yourself on overexerting the action piece, like overdoing it to the point where you can't sustain it. Watch that. That's a hot spot for people. And also look at the energetic and emotional content of what you're wanting. Just look at it. Just sit with it and contemplate it for a while. And that will help give you really solid information on what you're going for, how you can start tapping into the unconditionality pieces, like what I was mentioning earlier. And yeah, go into that unconditional place often and see what happens. Is there anything else? One more thing. If the intentions or the goals don't light you up in all the right ways, if they're not exciting, if they're not fun, if it's not giving you that, ooh, yeah, feeling, consider shelving it because it's not mature enough. I would say once you're at the point where something is thrilling, it's go time. That's when you know it's the right place to focus because there's so much energy behind it that it's like, this is it. It's ready for you. It's ready for you to focus on, and you're going to be able to sustain it and maintain it over time. If you are trying to force yourself to do it, or you're saying, I have to do this and I hate the idea of it and I just know that I need to because blah, blah, blah. Well, how long are you going to be able to keep that up? That's not going to be something that is maintainable. So pleasure, the full body, ooh, yeah, absolutely. That feels good. That really excites me. And that's when you know That's when you know the energy is potent enough to maintain longer. And of course, there's variability to all of that, but just understand, like, trying to get yourself to, leading with force feeding yourself broccoli around the new year, I just don't recommend it. I just don't recommend it. Like, who wants to do that? So spare yourself the frustration of that experience and let yourself pick the low-hanging fruit and lean into what's easy and fun. Fun, feeling good, levity. That's going to serve you a lot better. All right, so that is all for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cosmic Weather. Also, once again, go check out Current Magic. I have a New Year meditation if you want to join us, or if it's past the date that I ran the meditation, you're more than welcome to purchase it anyway. It's an evergreen meditation that's available to you, but that is available to you either way. And we're going to have a really good time. So enjoy. Go listen to Current Magic if you haven't already. I give all the details for everything, including that meditation. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you all later. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.